Reflections of the Heart.
Sarah stood before the full-length mirror, her brow furrowed in concentration as she scrutinized every inch of her reflection. Tilting her head to the side, she ran her fingers over the faint lines at the corners of her eyes, a frown tugging at the edges of her lips. "I really should start using that eye cream," she murmured to herself, her gaze shifting down to the slight curve of her hips. "And maybe I could stand to lose a few pounds." Sighing, she smoothed a hand over the soft fabric of her blouse, her eyes drifting up to her face once more. The warm brown of her eyes, once so vibrant, seemed duller today, the spark within them dimmed by the weight of her self-criticism. This ritual, this silent judgment of her appearance, had become a familiar part of Sarah's morning routine. It was as if the mirror was a cruel mirror, reflecting back only her perceived flaws and shortcomings, no matter how many times she told herself that she was being too hard on herself. With a final lingering look, Sarah turned away from the mirror, her shoulders slumping slightly. She grabbed her purse and headed out the bedroom door, her mind already racing with the day's to-do list. Maybe if she kept herself busy, she wouldn't have time to dwell on her insecurities. As Sarah left, her husband Michel stepped out from the adjacent bathroom, his brow creased with concern. He had watched this scene play out countless times, his heart aching for the woman he loved. While Sarah saw only flaws, Michel saw a woman of incredible strength, kindness, and beauty, both inside and out. Letting out a soft sigh, Michel made his way to the bedroom, his gaze settling on the mirror that had become a source of torment for his wife. An idea began to form in his mind, a way to help Sarah see herself as he saw her. Over the next few hours, as Sarah busied herself at work, Michel set his plan in motion. Carefully, he detached the mirror from the wall, carrying it out of the bedroom and into the spare room down the hall. He propped it against the wall, out of sight, and took a moment to consider his next steps. When Sarah returned home that evening, her eyes immediately landed on the empty space where the mirror once stood. Confusion and a hint of panic flickered across her face as she called out, "Michel? Where's our bedroom mirror?" Michel emerged from the kitchen, a warm smile on his face. "I took it down," he said simply, his voice soft and reassuring. Sarah's brow furrowed as she approached him, her fingers tugging at the hem of her sweater. "But why? How am I supposed to get ready in the morning without it?" Gently, Michel reached out and took her hands in his, guiding her to sit on the edge of the bed. "Sarah," he began, his eyes filled with a tender adoration, "that mirror doesn't show you what I see. It doesn't reflect your true beauty." Sarah's breath caught in her throat, her eyes widening as she searched Michel's face, trying to understand the meaning behind his words. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Michel squeezed her hands, his thumbs tracing soothing circles on her skin. "That mirror can't show the way your eyes light up when you talk about your work. It can't capture the kindness in your smile when you help a friend in need. It doesn't reflect the strength in your hands after a long day of hard work." Sarah felt the sting of tears in her eyes as Michel continued, his voice thick with emotion. "That mirror can't show the depth of your love, the brilliance of your mind, or the warmth of your heart. It only shows a fraction of who you are. And you're so much more than that reflection." Tears began to spill down Sarah's cheeks as she listened, her heart swelling with a mix of gratitude and disbelief. But I'm not perfect, she whispered, her gaze dropping to their entwined hands. Michael reached up, gently cupping her face and tilting it up to meet his eyes. No one is, my love. But your imperfections are what make you uniquely you. They're part of the woman I fall in love with more and more each day. Sarah's tears flowed freely now, years of pent-up insecurity and self-doubt finally breaking free. She had spent so long fixating on her perceived flaws, never realizing the depth of Michael's adoration and acceptance. I've been so focused on what I thought were flaws, she admitted, her voice wavering. I never stopped to consider all the things that make me. Michael pulled her into his embrace, his strong arms enveloping her. You are extraordinary, Sarah. It's time you saw yourself the way I see you. As Sarah nuzzled into the warmth of Michael's chest, she felt a weight lifting from her shoulders. The absence of the mirror forced her to look beyond the superficial, to appreciate the qualities that truly defined her. In that moment, she realized that her worth was not measured by the reflection in the glass, but by the unwavering love and support of the man who held her. In the days that followed, Sarah found herself standing taller, her smile brighter and more genuine. The missing mirror had become a constant reminder that she was so much more than her appearance, and Michael's words had planted the seeds of a newfound confidence within her. The journey ahead would not be without its challenges, but Sarah knew that with Michael by her side, she could overcome her insecurities and learn to truly see herself as the remarkable woman he saw. Together, they would forge a path towards self-acceptance and the boundless joy that came with it. As Sarah nuzzled into the warmth of Michael's chest, she felt a weight lifting from her shoulders. The absence of the mirror forced her to look beyond the superficial, to appreciate the qualities that truly defined her. In that moment, she realized that her worth was not measured by the reflection in the glass, but by the unwavering love and support of the man who held her. Michael's heart swelled with emotion as he felt Sarah's body relax into his. He had known for so long that she was plagued by insecurities, but he had never fully grasped the depth of her self-doubt until now. Gently, he pressed a tender kiss to the top of her head, his fingers combing through her soft hair. You are so much more than what that mirror can show, my love, he murmured. You are kind, intelligent, and compassionate. Your heart is overflowing with love, not just for me, but for everyone around you. Sarah's fingers gripped the front of Michael's shirt as she listened, her mind whirling with a mix of emotions. She had spent so many years focusing on her perceived flaws, convinced that she was somehow lacking. But in the warmth of Michael's embrace, she found the courage to question those beliefs. How can you see all of that in me? She asked, her voice barely audible. When all I see is this. She gestured vaguely towards her body, her insecurity seeping through. Michael gently tilted her chin up, his eyes locking with hers. Because I see you, Sarah. I see the woman you are, not just the shell that holds you. Your beauty isn't defined by your appearance. It's in the way you live your life, the way you love, the way you make a difference in the world. Sarah's lips parted, as if she wanted to speak, but the words caught in her throat. She felt overwhelmed, her emotions swirling like a tempest within her. I don't know how to see myself the way you do, she confessed, her voice thick with vulnerability. I've been so consumed by these insecurities for so long. Michael's expression softened, and he tenderly brushed a stray tear from her cheek. "Then let me show you," he murmured. "Let me help you see what I see. The woman I fell in love with, and the woman I'll keep falling in love with every single day." Sarah's gaze searched his face, looking for any hint of doubt or deception. But all she saw was unwavering love and sincerity. Slowly she nodded, her lips curving into a tremulous smile. "Okay," she whispered, her heart swelling with a newfound hope. Michael's eyes lit up, and he pulled her close, his strong arms enveloping her in a warm embrace. "I've got you, my love," he murmured. "We'll do this together." For a long moment, they simply held each other, the silence between them filled with a deeper understanding. Sarah felt the tension in her body gradually melt away, replaced by a sense of security and acceptance. As they pulled apart, Michael's gaze was filled with tenderness and resolve. "I know it won't be easy, but I promise I'll be here for you every step of the way. We'll take it one day at a time, and I'll keep reminding you of just how incredible you are." Sarah nodded, a small but genuine smile spreading across her face. "Thank you, Michael," she said, her voice steadier than it had been in a long time. "For seeing me, for loving me, for all of it." Michael returned her smile, his eyes sparkling with adoration. "That's what I'm here for, my love. To love you, support you, and help you see the beauty that I see in you every single day." With those words, he leaned in and pressed a soft, lingering kiss to her lips, pouring all of his love and affection into the gesture. And in that moment, Sarah felt a shift within her, a glimmer of hope that perhaps, with Michael by her side, she could learn to truly love and accept herself. The journey ahead would not be an easy one, but as they gazed into each other's eyes, both knew that together they could overcome any obstacle. For in the absence of the mirror, a new reflection had emerged, one that saw the boundless beauty and worth that had been there all along. Sarah awoke the next morning, her hand instinctively reaching out to the empty space on the nightstand where the mirror once stood. The familiar ritual of scrutinizing her reflection had been so deeply ingrained in her daily routine that its absence left her feeling slightly disoriented. Blinking away the last vestiges of sleep, Sarah sat up in bed, her gaze settling on the spot where the mirror had once hung. Michael's words from the previous night came flooding back, a warmth spreading through her chest as she recalled the unwavering love and acceptance in his eyes. "You are extraordinary, Sarah," he had said, his voice thick with emotion. "It's time you saw yourself the way I see you." Sarah allowed a small smile to tug at the corners of her lips, her fingers toying with the soft fabric of the comforter. In the solitude of the bedroom, she gave herself a moment to truly reflect on Michael's words, to let them sink in and take root within her. It was true that she had spent countless mornings scrutinizing her appearance, fixating on every perceived flaw and imperfection. But now, with the mirror gone, she found herself focusing on something else, the way her eyes crinkled when she smiled, the gentle curve of her hips, the soft warmth of her skin. Slowly, Sarah swung her legs over the side of the bed, her mind racing as she considered the profound shift that had occurred within her. Gone was the sense of dread and self-doubt that had always accompanied her morning routine. In its place, a growing sense of confidence and self-acceptance. As she made her way downstairs, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the sound of Michael humming softly to himself filled the air. A wave of affection washed over her, and she felt her heart swell with love for the man who had worked so tirelessly to help her see her own worth. "Good morning, my love," Michael greeted her, his bright smile illuminating his face as he poured a steaming cup of coffee. "Sleep well?" Sarah nodded, accepting the mug from his outstretched hand. "I did, actually," she replied, her voice soft but steady. It felt different, waking up without the mirror there. Michael's expression softened, and he reached out to gently tuck a stray lock of hair behind her ear. "Different in a good way, I hope?" he asked, his tone laced with a hint of concern. Nodding, Sarah took a sip of her coffee, savouring the rich, familiar flavour. "It was," she admitted, her gaze meeting his. "I found myself focusing on other things. Things that have nothing to do with how I look." Michael's eyes lit up, and he pulled her into a warm embrace, his strong arms enveloping her. "I'm so proud of you, Sarah," he murmured, pressing a tender kiss to the top of her head. "I know it hasn't been easy, but you're already starting to see yourself the way I see you." Sarah nuzzled into the comfort of his chest, her own arms wrapping around his waist. "It's all because of you, Michael," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "If you hadn't taken down that mirror, I don't know if I ever would have realized how much I was missing." Pulling back slightly, Michael cupped her face in his hands, his thumbs gently caressing her cheeks. "You were always there, my love," he murmured. "I just wanted to help you see the incredible woman I've always known you to be." Sarah felt the sting of tears in her eyes, but this time they were not born of self-doubt or insecurity. These tears were a testament to the profound shift that had taken place within her, a shift that had been ignited by Michael's unwavering love and support. "Thank you," she breathed, her voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you for seeing me, for loving me, for helping me find the courage to love myself." Michael's heart swelled with emotion, and he pulled her close once more, his embrace a silent promise of his unwavering devotion. "Always, my love," he murmured. "I'll always be here, reminding you of your worth and your beauty, inside and out." As they stood there, locked in each other's arms, Sarah felt a weight lifting from her shoulders. The absence of the mirror had forced her to confront her insecurities head-on, but with Michael by her side, she was beginning to see herself in a new light, one that was not defined by superficial flaws, but by the depth of her character and the warmth of her heart. When they finally parted, Sarah's eyes were shining with a newfound confidence. The spark that had been dimmed for so long now reignited. "I feel different," she admitted, her lips curving into a genuine smile. "Lighter somehow." Michael's own expression mirrored hers, his eyes filled with pride and adoration. "That's because you are, my love," he said, his voice gentle but firm. "You're finally allowing yourself to see what I've always seen, the remarkable, beautiful woman you are." Sarah nodded, a soft smile playing on her lips. "It's all thanks to you, Michael," she said, reaching across the table to squeeze his hand. "I don't think I would have had the courage to confront my insecurities without your love and support." Michael brought her hand to his lips, pressing a tender kiss to her knuckles. "You had the courage all along, my love," he murmured. "I simply helped you see it." As the day wore on, Sarah found herself tackling her work with a renewed sense of focus and enthusiasm. Her colleagues couldn't help but notice the change in her demeanour, the way her eyes sparkled with a newfound confidence, and her smile seemed brighter and more genuine. When Sarah returned home that evening, she practically bounded through the door, her energy palpable. Michael, she exclaimed, enveloping him in a warm embrace. You'll never believe what happened today. Michael chuckled, wrapping his arms around her and pulling her close. Tell me all about it, my love, he encouraged, his voice filled with genuine curiosity and excitement. Sarah proceeded to recount the day's events, her words spilling out in a rush of exhilaration. She spoke of the praise she had received from her boss, the ideas she had contributed that had been met with enthusiasm, and the sense of pride and accomplishment she felt in her work. As she listened to Sarah's animated recounting, Michael's heart swelled with joy. This was the woman he had always known, the woman whose light had been dimmed by years of self-doubt and insecurity. Now, with the mirror gone and her own worth finally reflected back to her, that light was shining brighter than ever before. I'm so proud of you, Sarah, he said, his voice thick with emotion. You're truly extraordinary, and I'm so glad you're finally seeing that for yourself. Sarah beamed up at him, her eyes shining with a newfound joy. It's all because of you, Michael, she said, her fingers gently caressing his face. You helped me find the courage to believe in myself, to see the beauty that was there all along. Michael pulled her close, pressing a tender kiss to her forehead. I'll always be here, my love, he murmured, reminding you of your worth, supporting you, and celebrating every step of your journey. As they held each other, Sarah felt a profound sense of contentment wash over her. The missing mirror had become a symbol of her transformation, a reminder that her worth was not defined by her reflection, but by the love and support of the man who saw her for who she truly was. In that moment, Sarah knew that the journey ahead would not be without its challenges, but with Michael by her side, she was ready to embrace the future with open arms. For the first time in a long time, she felt truly and wholly herself, and that, to her, was the most beautiful reflection of all.